Okay, take a seat, please. We're going to start the afternoon session. Session number 4, dedicated to the Horizon projects related with forestry. Please help me to ask to the people to come in the room. I know that the poster session was very fast, and you need more time. You have questions, and this was the intention. I mean, now you got an overview, and also the feeling of find out more. But you have to know that after the session, we will have an entire hour available for you to discover more about a specific results of the One Forest project, or network, or a project presented during the day. So the idea now is to follow with the Horizon projects. We won't have any question and answer time after the presentations, because at the end of the session we will have the poster session, and so keep your question for that time. Okay, I'm seeing still people coming inside, but we already have 15 minutes of late, so we have to start. All right, so the first presentation is about the sister project of the One Forest, which is the ReasonNet, represented by its coordinator, the European Forestry Institute. Sara Uschiano is with us. Please, Sara, you can come. Here you have your point. You have the pointer here, and this is for the slides. The floor is yours, Sara. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm here on behalf of my colleagues in Resonate, coordinated by Marcus Linda and myself as supporting the coordination of this project. So Resonate is a project that started in April 21, and it's going to last till April 25. The aim of this project is to generate the needed knowledge and practices for making European forests, their services, and the related economic activities more resilient to future climate disturbances that we are facing right now. For that reason, we have developed what we call the Operational Resilience Framework, where we first of all define the approach of the resilience. There are 3 types of resilience: the engineering, the ecological, and the social ecological resilience. In this project, we focus on the social ecological resilience. And focusing on that, we have developed this frame where we first considered the forest ecosystem, then we made this question, resilience to what? And then we check the disturbances or the stressors that cause the problem. Then we make the question, resilience of what? And to make that, we check the resilience predictors, the co-drivers. The co-drivers are the factors that we cannot change. For example, significant geography conditions, or sometimes even political issues. And the resilience predictors are the things that we can somehow shape. And with that, we develop, or we check the best methodology to measure this resilience. And then we can quantify and ask the question, how is resilience quantified? And all this, of course, need to be compared with a reference state. And when we have this, we also have the timeline. And this is the operational resilience framework, what we have developed and is applied through the entire project. To develop this operational resilience framework, we did a very extensive literature research, and there is where we found the more cited co-drivers, system variables, etc., as you see here a little bit in this graph. And of course, we also ask the stakeholders and their perception on how do they perceive that they have to face the forests nowadays with the disturbances that we are experiencing. Once we had the operational resilience framework, we had to set the scene. For that, we have developed an online map disturbance, checking the hotspots. And here's where you can see, based again on literature review, we checked what are the main hotspots or disturbances, challenges that the forests have to face nowadays. And we have selected these four. The challenge of changing suitability of tree species in response of climate change, the challenge of disturbances, for example, wildfires, windstorms, insect pests. Also the society demand that is changing nowadays, and finally, the biodiversity decline. We have studied this specifically in 10 case studies across 9 European countries. And here you can see highlighted the challenges that each of the case studies are studying. So for example, in the case of Galicia, they are focused on the disturbances and the society demand. In the case of Catalonia, the suitability of species and the biodiversity, and so on. We also have studied the silvicultural options to enhance the resilience. Also based in the literature review, we focus on 3 management options: reducing stand density, maintenance or promotion on species diversity, and then cessation of activity forest management. This is an example of what will happen if we with the thinning. If you see here, the green means positive effect if we increase the thinning, and the gray is not reporter, or red is negative. And they were also classified in different like where the information was taken from stakeholders, for survey, from literature review, or from a meta-analysis. Then, on the other hand, we also assessed the past of these areas. From 1986 to 2020, we have studied how these forests have been facing the climate change. And based on this historical data, is that we have done, or we are doing, a projection in the future. So based on this data, how we think that, or how we can see the forest is going to happen in the next 80 years, from 21 to 200, what is 2100, right? Well, and so here what you see is, on one hand, what will happen if the climate remains as it is right now, so historical. What will happen if the climate increases a little bit, RCP 4.5, and what will happen if the climate increased dramatically, 8.5. And then not only that, different climate scenarios, also what we call narratives, which is the different management regimes. So what will happen if we continue doing what we are doing, what we call business as usual? What will happen if we focus more on bioeconomy? What will happen if we focus on climate change adaptive species? And finally, what will happen if we increase the protection areas in our forests? This is an example of the growing stock variability. And for example, just for you to see a little bit, you see how if we don't make any change, the variability of our growing stock will vary a lot. Rather, if we do some changes, then the variability decrease, which is something good. This is also about the society. One of the studies, one of the parts of the project was based on the resilience for forest value change under changing conditions. In this part of the project, we had done also a literature review and identify these different 9 steps across the forest, the primary sector, and the secondary products. And here we have found what will happen with the innovation. And we found that innovation that stimulates diversifications are more in the forest management, and then innovations that stimulate flexibility and efficiency are found more in secondary products, and sometimes they bite itself. So for example, if we want to find an efficiency in one of the machinery, for example, spruce, maybe we are losing diversity because that machinery cannot process other species. And also here, the triangles that you see here show how the different, these different, sorry, it's a little bit small, the things, the innovation supporting mixed forest, so the different clusters that we have found in the forest, how they strengthen the resilience of the value chain, or how they strengthen the forest. So here, once more, you can find that the forest, the resilience, the activities that strengthen the resilience of the forest are found in the forest management, so at the very first instance of the forest. And then activities that strengthen the chain resilience are found more at the very end of the process. And just in some cases, both meet each other. And finally, we are asking, or we also ask, this always about what the forest is doing to try to be more resilient, but we also wanted to know what society needs from the forest, so we can try to build the forest more resilient. For that, we did a survey, and then we did a qualitative analysis from the data, and what we call the ladder, the demand resilience ladder. So, well, this graph can explain very well what, according to the survey or to the data that we found from the experts, what is more needed from the society. And then we found that forest recreation and carbon sequestration appear to be the most resilient ecosystem services. Finally, all this data that we are collecting here, it's being built in this or gathered in what we call the resilience dashboard. And this claimed to be, or the aim of this resilience dashboard, final goal is to be an interactive tool. So then the stakeholders can go there and check and put their conditions of the forest, so then they can build, thanks to this resilience dashboard, the operational resilience framework, and then make their forests more resilient. Finally, with this project, we want to be heard. So what we do is do a lot of social media, so you can find a lot of our encounters, of our research in resilience blog, in Twitter, now X. What else? On Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, you can find many of our main results. If you check, I encourage you to go and check our webpage. You can see our experts talking. Then we try to go to most of the important events like this one here today, so we also can share what we are finding. And then, of course, we are developing a lot of policy briefs for policymakers, so they can take a look to our findings. Also, some other examples of media engagement. And as I said, our website is here. Then you can see all that we do, and all these main results that I just show you. You can find it in resources, deliverables, and there's where you can find the information if you want to dig a little bit deeper on this. And in this last year that the project is facing, we are also gathering all this information and developing what we call the learning module. The idea with this is that we are gonna have a free material for different levels, university level, at the bachelor and master level, but also for professionals. So for them to learn what is resilience and all these concepts. So we are creating a society more aware of all this effort that we're doing in this project. So I'm nothing more to say for now. Just stay tuned to the project, and thank you very much for this time.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Sarah. Excellent presentation. Very good. Thanks a lot. So the Resonate poster will be available after the session outside. Now we have Alex. So we remain with the European Forest Institute. We have another important project, the EU4 project, and Alex Jurka is the coordinator. Please, Alex.
Thank you very much, Ricardo, also for not mispronouncing my name. So that's very refreshing to hear. So yeah, another proud representative of the European Forest Institute standing in front of you. I work for the governance program in Bonn, where I lead a small team working on very big issues related to forest governance and societal aspects. But today I'm here to talk about euphoria, or euphore. And since Ricardo said we don't have so much time to ask questions at the end, I'm going to ask you a question. So we've heard a lot about innovation, about the need for research, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm going to ask you now, who decides the innovation and research agenda? Who do you think puts these important topics on the agenda? You can venture out with an answer, you can scream it. Who decides what we research upon and what we should develop innovations? Is it the European Commission? Is it policymakers, researchers? Top down, bottom up, yeah. Good. Well, I see you're very enthusiastic after the lunch break, but I'm going to take it. I'm going to try to convince you today that you have a voice in this, and we have come with an approach of how to engage you. And I'm going to present that to you, and afterwards we can discuss whether or not you think it's working or maybe not, but it's up to you to decide. Okay. I can look here. So Euphoria is a Horizon Europe project funded by the European Union, and we still have a couple of years to go until 2026. And our very ambitious, overarching ambition, so to speak, is to greatly improve the forest sector's research and innovation funding and governance structure. So the aim is to build a sustainable, transnational, co-creative environment for defining, implementing, and evaluating research and innovation, and have a roadmap for the forest-based value chain in Europe. It sounds like a lot of buzzwords, but I'm going to try to convince you that there is substance behind these buzzwords, and I'm going to show you how we're actually doing it. I see the skepticism in your eyes. What are our main outputs? So if I would have to summarize it, the three main outputs of this project are a stakeholder engagement hub. This is where we engage the different people in co-creating this agenda. An actual strategic research and innovation agenda, which I'm going to call from now on SRIA. So this is an acronym for the Strategic and Research and Innovation Agenda. So I can't stress the importance of this, so I'm going to say it again. We are trying to co-create a strategic research and innovation agenda for the forest-based sector in Europe, okay? And this is going to be the basis for a European partnership on forest and forestry. You've probably heard a lot about these partnerships recently. They've been going around in the media. We are not directly responsible for them, but we are supporting them through this draft, through this proposal of a research and innovation agenda that we are co-creating. Gesundheit. How we are doing this, so of course it has a science or a research-based foundation. So it's not just a bunch of people coming up with great ideas. We try to root these objectives in facts. So for that, we engage different researchers as the classical work packages, which I'm not going to go in detail because colleagues from the EU4E project are in this room as we speak. We have Ivana from Boku, whom you're going to meet later on in the panel. Vanessa, I've already mentioned that she's involved. Mireia Pecurul, probably preparing the workshop, the policy workshop for tomorrow. So you're going to get to engage with all of them. So in the first part, the researchers are doing a review of the European research and innovation activity, funding and governance. You wouldn't believe how complex this is, how many funding streams and mechanisms go into this governance structure of research and innovation. Then we're also looking at societal expectations, and we've seen the example from SLU, going a little bit into that. We also have colleagues from Copenhagen looking into that through the very famous surveys, looking what the societal expectations are and what can we learn from this in order to fill these knowledge gaps in our research and innovation agenda. Then we have the policy scientists, to which I count myself and Ivana as well, who are really looking at this policy framework and its research and innovation implication. And last but not least, we have our colleagues from Luke in Finland who are doing a foresight analysis. Researchers like to believe that they can look into the future and come up with some recommendation about what is potentially happening and what knowledge gaps do we need to fill in order to address these issues in the future. Okay, now you're going to ask me, fine, it all sounds dandy, but who are the relevant stakeholders identified? And I'm sure you're going to criticize me about this a lot. In my defense, this is a preferred approach from the Commission, the quadruple helix approach. In the meantime, we have a quintuple helix approach. But nevertheless, I think it's a more or less inclusive approach to sort of capture the diversity of voices and stakeholders who could potentially be interested by co-creating this research and innovation agenda. So of course we have industry and businesses, we have governance and regulators or policymakers, we have researchers which are vastly represented here today, and also the civil society. And this, of course, you can go into the fine-grained details and involve the environmental NGOs, but also other societal organizations. And this is trying to cover also the new and traditional forest value chain. So it's really trying to capture this more holistic approach to the diversity and complexity of forest stakeholders. All right, how do we actually do this? And this is, the devil is always in the details, but nevertheless, I'm going to try to give you an overview of how this stakeholder engagement hub functions. So obviously, we have a coordination team. This is the FNR in Germany, and my German colleagues should help me with the English translation because I think it's Fachagentur für nachwachsende Rohstoffe. The English translation. Yeah. Thank you. 15 years in Germany, and I still get that compliment. And then we have the so-called thematic working groups. And these thematic working groups work very closely with regional European stakeholder workshops. So I'm going to show you later on how the colleagues have run already the first round of stakeholder workshops and how this information feeds into the thematic working groups and then into the actual development of the draft of the SRIA. Okay? I hope you're still with me. This is a very complicated picture to show you a little bit the timeline of what has happened so far. So as you can see, there has already, I'm not sure this source, anyways, there has already been a first regional stakeholder workshop, 2022, 2023. We are now going into the second stakeholder workshop. So there's going to be 6 of them taking place. And these thematic working groups are, as we speak, writing on the draft of the research and innovation agenda. This is not set in stone, right? So this is a process that is in continuous flux. It is always open for input and collaboration from other stakeholders. So it's by no means an exclusive club, a closed door sort of business, but it's really open for different stakeholders to add their views and opinions on how this should go. Ricardo, you have to tell me with the time because I tend to exaggerate. All right. We don't need this anymore. And first results, because you asked us about first results. I'm going to present you kind of where we stand, and you're also going to see a little bit the weaknesses, right? Because one thing is in social sciences and in political science and in governance theory of how democracy and participation and co-creation works in paper, and then how it actually works on the ground, how difficult it is to really involve and take everybody with on board. And you're going to see that in the numbers that I'm going to present to you. So as I said, the first round of regional workshops was already held in 2023. They were 6, and they followed the same methodologies, and they involved all European countries according to this regional distribution that is highlighted in the map there on the right-hand side. So approximately 40 participants per workshops were there, and they had different topics that they focused on. These are the numbers behind that first round. So as you can see, from 133 participants from 30 countries, also non-EU including, there was a different representation of participants. So of course, Northern Europe was very strongly represented. However, the Mediterranean, as you can see, and perhaps the West and Central Europe, not so much. So this can be attributed maybe to language issues, but of course, maybe also to our communication about involving these stakeholders. And this is what we're trying to improve. And that's why I am here today, partly. And that's why I'm working with Cesefor and Ricardo and Alvaro to try to figure out how to engage more people. Regarding the stakeholder branches, we had research, governance, business, and civil society. Again, you see our weakness here. Civil society, not as strongly represented as we would wish. Again, we can discuss about this in the coffee break, what we could do better. The thematic working groups, right? Because I could see already in your eyes, you're asking, okay, what are they writing about? What are these groups about? So we have one group on forest ecology, one on forest management, one on forest products, and a broad one on social aspects and policy. And again, over there, it's a pretty strong representation in forest management, which is not bad. I think it's relatable. It's hands-on. Everybody has an opinion about what to do. Social aspects and policy, this is where things get a bit hairy and difficult. So again, we need more social scientists. I'm looking at Camila to participate in these types of thematic working groups. And looking at the stakeholder branches, again, as we said, research and academia, pretty overrepresented so far. Government and regulators, pretty good representation. So there is definitely a huge interest from policymakers in this. Business and industry, civil society could be better. So yeah, this is kind of how we stand. And just to show you a little bit the connection with this European Partnership on Forest and Forestry, and make also the connection to Scar Forest. I'm not sure, I think Vanessa mentioned Scar Forest. It's the Standing Committee of Agriculture and Forestry. So basically, the work that EU4E does supports the Scar Forest in supporting the setting up of the European Partnership on Forest and Forestry. So we're not directly involved in this partnership per se, but with our knowledge, with our networking, with the input that we bring into this RIA development, we're trying to support this partnership. And expected impacts, of course, what we hope to get out of this, that the European taxpayers' money is well spent. We hope that this would lead to increased coordination of research and innovation funding in the sector. We've heard from Ricardo, there seems to be a lot of very similar initiatives in these projects, partly overlapping. No one really has a diagnosis of where this research and innovation funding is going. So this is what we're trying to produce with this one. Of course, improving the sector's open innovation ecosystem, also combining it with the societal demands, with the reality on the ground to see where the real knowledge gaps are and how we can address this. And of course, responsive management and benefit sharing is what we all wish for if we dare to dream. Yeah, so last question, how do you get involved? Of course, I hope you have smartphones. This is a QR code, otherwise you can address me personally. You will be directed to a very, very short questionnaire where you can fill in your information and say, hey, I'm interested in participating in this. And then one of the colleagues from the Fachagentur für nachwachsende Rohstoffe, will contact you and tell you how to get more involved in these processes. All right, that was it from my side. Now to show all the logos, and I hope I didn't go over time. Thank you for listening, and please feel free to approach me in the coffee break or the wine break and talk about how to co-create this idea. Thank you for your attention.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Very, very, very good, Alex. Well, and now if you are missing somebody from Tuscany, here we are again. The next project is called Forest for You, and it is coordinated by the University of Florence. We have Francesca Giannetti, Professor Francesca Giannetti. The floor is yours, please.
Hi everybody. Thank you for organizing this important event. We are a co-organizer of the event, and tomorrow we will have a workshop in a Spanish language. We have already talked about barrier of the engagement of a stakeholder. I think that language is a barrier. So if we want to engage the stakeholder, we need to speak their language. And the language are not English for forest owner, for example, civil society. So this is one of the first results that I can show for you in the Forest for EU project. So Forest for EU project is a CSA project financed by the Commission under a specific call deal with the operational groups in operational groups in general. And the history of this project that was born during a workshop of CAP network event that deal with innovation. So we were me, Riccardo, Fabio Boscalieri from Tuscany region, and many others from the consortium, followed this event online. And we talk about innovation, and we were there for talking about innovation of operational groups. And then we saw that there was this call, and Benjamin Chaplet say, oh, we need to build a consortium of that. And this is what we born. The project is now at the middle of the project. In June will be 1 year and a half. Then we have another year and a half. And the total amount is 2 million euros. So around Europe, there are many small projects that were financed under the European Commission funding in the CAP national part, so rural development plan mainly, that deal with to support forestry and agroforestry and agricultural stakeholder in build innovation. These innovation are built under a bottom-up approach, so our forestry owner, forest enterprise, agroforestry owner and enterprise, and also, of course, agriculture, that are looking for funding for innovation. And in the partnerships is mandatory that there will be they coordinate the partnership. So they are the first stakeholder that are part of this project. Then in the partnership need to be there a research institute, advisor, other forest owner, forest enterprise that deal together to work in innovation or in problem that they say, this problem for me, it's really important, and I would like to innovate the sector through a bottom-up approach. So operational group are multi-actor approach project financed at the national or regional level. For example, in Italy, they are financed at regional level. And there are everywhere, mostly we will see in the south of Europe. And but usually the innovation that cannot cross the border, because all the material provide just in national language, all the events are just at national level. So the innovation are not possible to cross border between countries. So the call requires us to support this cross-border transition of innovation. And so we set up the methodology that we would like to use. So the main aim of the project is to transfer knowledge and best practice that coming from these operational groups in other countries or cross-border countries, but also far away. And use easy-to-use material to transfer this knowledge. Also because the people that are our target are mostly people that work in rural area that want to use easy-to-use language, not research language that usually cannot be understood. So we set up a consortium of 14 partners that work mainly in Portugal, Spain, Italy, Croatia, Slovenia, Germany, France, Latvia, and of course, Finland with the European Forest Institute, but also in Barcelona. So this consortium also reflect all the actors that usually are part of operational groups. So we have forest owner or association of forest owner. We have enterprise, foundation, research institutes, also because mostly of these partners are already involved in the past in operational groups. So we decided to, during the call, to understand what are the topic of innovation that are important for the forestry sector at European level, looking to the past workshop and seminar that was done in the past before the call was exited. So we identified that the main topic of innovation are 5, that are wood mobilization, forest adaptation to climate change, agroforestry, non-wood forest product, and improving sustainable forest management and approach. We have seen already all this topic in the previous presentation this morning and this afternoon. Then we decide to build 5 innovation topic hubs, so all of you can participate in this innovation topic hub, just subscribing to our stakeholder database, so you can have input from them. So we start, the first year was totally used to collect the information from operational groups and to fix them in these 5 different topic hubs. Then these innovations were also classified not just for the hub, but also for the type of innovation, so technological, process, product, organizational, social, and services. Since many of these innovations can also reflect some other innovation need. For example, we have talked before about social innovation. So operational group have already provided some very important example on social innovation, but also a climate change mitigation adaptation. We saw before, for example, IPS typography problem, and there are some operational groups that already work at the local level with that, or forest fire and so on. So this is are also the important task that the forest owner have to, the problem that they have to solve quite immediately, I say. So then we, in the first year, we were concentrate in engage as much as possible people that can help us during the second, third years. So we create the stakeholder database, and we create some videos in order to give them an overview about what is an operational group and so on. But then we work also for the policy aspect, because when I will show later some results, you will see that operational groups that are a driver of innovation in forestry and agroforestry sector in Europe are not financed everywhere. So just some countries use this measure. So it's very important also to stimulate with the policy recommendation the country where this innovation, this type of project are not financed, to be engaged with this measure of the CAP. So then we decide also that the so then we say also that we collect this innovation and we create some easy to use, understandable material. And we decide through the project, no develop another repository for our fact sheet. Also, if EU Farm Book was not available at that moment. And we decide to use already available platform, also because in this platform, stakeholders are already engaged. They don't need to know other platforms. So we will use, for example, Rosewood, or incredible platform to deliverable our fact sheet according to their template. So we will use that template to upload our information. And now we are also engagement with the EU Farm Book to deliver there all our information. So the first year we were able to connect 86 different operational groups dealing with forestry and agroforestry sector, mostly in Spain, Portugal, France, Italy, Slovenia, Austria, Germany, Netherlands, and Sweden. As you see from this figure, you can see that this measure is really applied in the southeast countries, while there are missing operational group, or we are not able to connect them in mostly of the other countries at the European level. Why this is a driver of innovation that I will show you with some other results. So then this innovation, where we interview directly coordinator or partner involved within the operational groups, and we were able to collect 175 different innovations. Now we will open them with a booklet, so you will be able to read them after the deliverable is approved from the Commission. And this innovation coming from different ET hubs, as you can see. And the ET hubs and also deal with different aspects, so technological, products, processes, services, and so on. So this means that operational groups that work locally are very good drivers of innovation that already try to solve some of the problems that the Horizon Europe project try to solve. But they do this with concrete actions. It means that they develop innovation that can fix their exact need. Also because when we interview the coordinator or partner, and we will have also a questionnaire online with the first result, they say that the first driver, the first actors of innovation in operational group are not research. The research serve as input for the innovation, but they are not. Mostly of all the response that we receive is that forest owner, forest enterprise, agroforestry people are the main driver of innovation. So if you want to have an impact, we need to engage directly there. Then here you will see some output that we have. We have just number. I will show you some innovation later. So you see that for innovation, ET Hub 1, for example, we don't have innovation from Portugal, while for ET Hub 2, no innovation from Slovenia. But the main things that 13 of the operational group that we engage have more than one innovation that fix more than one hub. It means that operational group don't work just in an aspect, wood mobilization, but usually works in many aspects, not just one. The only one that works mostly in just one aspect are the one that ET Hub 5, that is agroforestry ET Hubs that now we see before from my presentation from the DG Agri, that agroforestry is really important now at European level also to be stressed, and we are happy to include them in our Forest for EU project from the beginning. So some example of innovation coming, these are from ET Hub 5, for example, agroforestry. You will see there are some technological innovation using drone to mapping the stress of crops or also forests. We have some innovation that deal with the use of a K-line to reduce the soil erosion. So we are looking for soil disaster, soil disappear, and there are these very important aspects. Then we have some innovation that are also dealing with social aspect. This is one of the innovation that is the first agroforestry school done in Tuscany level during an operational groups. From this, for example, agroforestry school was born the Italian network of agroforestry. And of course, for example, the rural area, the use of trees in the country lands. So when we look to the innovation that coming from the different hub, we do also an analysis of the keywords that in the extended summary interview that we collect, we extrapolate. So you will see that for wood mobilization, for example, decision support system is one of the most important one. But of course, this decision support system are calibrated for the local level, not at the European level. And also, mostly of them are built with a support of forest owner or forest enterprise that would like to have wood mobilization done in another way than the business as usual. Then we have the supply chain. We have already listed all these keywords. Then we analyze also the challenge and need of each innovation. Here you will see some examples. So for wood mobilization, for example, the lack of forest knowledge and skill among owners is important, but also the fragmentation of forest owner. We have SMART that will work on that, for example, at the European level, but this is somehow important at the local level. For the T-Hub 2, also the adaptation to climate change and non-wood forest products are most important, also because non-wood forest products are also impacted by climate change. And also in this case, this decision support system was really important. Here we have all the things that we have already said regarding the adaptation to climate change. So also from operational group, they have already in mind that we have to understand the species composition, the abiotic and biotic risk, and so on. For sustainable forest management and ecosystem services, for the needs that we will see after, also in this case, the decision support system and quantification of ecosystem services was really important. But as policy recommendation, also that we have few examples, standardized method of quantify forest ecosystem services, and we don't have a real market of ecosystem services. Now we have the carbon new regulation that will come from Europe, and we will see what will happen. But it's quite important for the forest sector also for have more revenue for the forest owner. Then for a non-wood forest product, of course, the supply chain, so how we use this non-wood forest product and how we can sell during the supply chain is it's really important, and also the multifunctionality. Also in this case, the security into conservation of the non-wood forest product, and also the market of this product is really important. Then all these material are already online in a booklet, so you can see it. For the agroforestry, the most important part was the soil conservation and multifunctionalities. We have talked about erosion, and mostly of the project also tried to solve this problem, especially in Spain and Portugal, comparing to the other. So soil conservation was also one of the challenges and needs that we identified, and also some new business model that can improve the agroforestry sector is really important. At the European level, it's became more important also the free outside forestry and agroforestry system. So this is a challenge that we need to solve maybe all together. So in the stakeholder now we have 248 registered people, and then this innovation were also prioritized. This work was really according to the need of the country. So this innovation, we collect 175 innovation. Then internally, the community of practices, so all people involved in the project, we reduced them to 100 innovation. And then each country with each expert reduced them in 50 innovation, 10 for each country that they say, these are really important for me. So, and then we organize prioritization workshop, one in each country where we are involved. And during this workshop, we're using a participatory approach in national language. So no English was used in this case, and all the material was translated in the national language. We engage 191 stakeholders. Now we have tomorrow the Spanish workshop we had 2 days ago in Finland, so this number will need to be updated. And now we have for each country 5 innovations selected for each hub that the practitioner say, yes, I would like to know more on that. And now we will start the second phase. These 5 innovations in each country, using the way that stakeholders say, I would like to have a video, I would like to have a newsletter, I would like to see in the Sherwood newspaper or in the CAP network website. So we create capacity building material that fit not just their need, so the innovation that they want to know, but also the way that they want to understand. So if it's video, and where to share this video, because we collect also the channel in each country where to share this information in order to enlarge the possibility to engage more people. So now we are starting to create this capacity building material. For the moment, they are not started yet, this aspect. And then we also organize 5 different study visiting, one for each IT hubs, and bring to us people that are interested in know more. And we will done this the 3rd year of the project. So we have also some policy focus group on. We have already done the first 2. We divide the policy focus group in 3 huge groups: Central Europe, Southeast Europe, and West Europe. There is an error here in the presentation, because as you see, the innovation are quite different among these aspects of Europe. So also the recommendation that we want to have from the policymaker are quite different. And so, for example, in Southeast Europe, for the moment, no operational group were financed. So they would like to know how to apply this measure in their CAP at national level. For example, in Croatia, they will now have this measure open, but not for the forestry sector. So they want to stress this also in this part. So this you can participate, of course, in this policy focus group, because we will have 3 different, in the 3 different policy focus group, we will have 3 different events. And we are also looking to have some shared event for policymakers at European level with other projects. So if you are interested, we are also interested in organizing something together, also in the context maybe with the area of So at the end, we have now to deliverable 85 practical aspects to the CAP portal, using easy to use material, and then also the ability to organize B2B events. So also innovation that are not within the 5, but people want to know more. We will organize B2B event across country in order to also in the same countries, because in Italy, for example, are financed at regional level. So also the cross-border at regional level maybe is not useful. And so these are our main parts. So Forest for EU website, and we have a LinkedIn and page and a YouTube page. So if you want to know more about innovation at local national level, please subscribe our stakeholder database. You will be put in the mailing list, and all the event will be shared with you. Thanks.
Thank you, Francesca. Brilliant presentation. Yeah, I would like to remember you that tomorrow we will have only for Spanish speakers 2 sessions. One is the Francesca session. Well, so not Francesca session, the AIDA's session. It's the prioritization workshop for Spain, led by Aida Rodriguez from Cesefor. And after this, the EU4 session, led by Mireia Pecurul from the CTFC, okay? And let me say also that I was thinking that when Francesca was speaking, that sometimes the innovations, we don't have to invent nothing, just see besides of us and remember that to copy is not a sin, all right? Well, the next presentation and the last one is made by our Álvaro Picardo from Cesefor now. And we have a new and very important Horizon project called SMURF. Álvaro, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Ricardo, and thanks for listening still in this long and intense day. I'm here on behalf of a large team of people representing 10 different organizations that have just launched the Smooth project. And I cannot present results, but present the idea because we just began 3 months ago and we will work in the next 4 years. So the title of the project is Sustainable Management Models and Value Chains for Small Forests. And everything began with our landscape. That's not Castilla y León, but it's Álava, the province of Álava in the Basque Country, and we can see that we have diverse landscape, fragmented landscape, and that is the result of the use for millennia for local people. So we want to support, to improve the support to small forest owners across Europe. And the conditions are really different from east to west and south to north. And in that photograph, probably you do not see very well, but those lines can show you the size of the parcels in one province of Spain. And it's just crazy. And the problem of sustainability begins with a problem of being able to manage that landscape that responds to the socioeconomic situation probably of centuries ago. And now we have to adapt that. So I want to thank Pablo Sabin for the idea of the project. And the project is really transformative and really looking and focusing on people and landscapes in small forest owners, but trying to move from this approach that usually in forestry we speak about forest owners and begin speaking of small forest holdings, like in agriculture. Agricultural policy in the European Commission has really transformed the rural areas. After 50 years, we went from familiar family farming to really new farming that is competitive, that has proved successful, and that is oriented toward markets, and now more and more towards different functions. In forestry, we think that we have to do that, the same transition from familiar forests and also collective forests. We cannot forget villages and the importance of this type of ownership into something new. And there are a lot of demands, but please maintain this idea of transformation, because what we want is to sow a seed for a new model for private forest owners in Europe. As we think that public forest is very well developed across Europe because probably it has like 200 years of support and really improving the conditions of public forest, but private forestry is really new. So we need to provide new instruments for this transition. And some basic project info, I'm going to be very quick on this. Thanks to the Horizon Europe program, I'm glad that we can contribute to the next one. And so this was the call. That was an excellent call, focus on circular economy and bioeconomy. It's a research and innovation action, and it was launched in July last year, and 2 projects were approved. I think that this is also important because we have a Small for Good that is our sister project with people from Switzerland, from Germany, Romania, also Castilla y León. We're very, very glad of that. And Norway. Norway, Nibio, is the coordinator of this project that we will begin with. So this is, we have a lot of money, but probably if we look at the entire European Union, 5 million euros is just to sow this small seed, okay? Probably in agriculture, we've had hundreds of millions of euros to define the new model. We have 48 months beginning in January and ending in December. And this is the team that is the result of the activity of the networks. And because of events like this, we bring together INNOVAForONE, the University of Florence, Blue Biloba, that is a spin-off from Italy. Italians are everywhere, although we are in Spain, but believe us. Then we have Silo Futur from France, the Nouvelle Aquitaine. Airins is also from the region of Castilla y León. It's an entity linked to the University of Salamanca and specialized in artificial intelligence. Then we have from Portugal, our sister region and country, Instituto Politécnico de Bragança. We have Preferred by Nature from Denmark, a very well-established consultancy. Millier from specialized in legal analysis from Brussels, and Contactica that will be responsible of communication. So we have some results and objectives, and above everything, our project is designed to develop the European forest strategy and the different objectives of the Green Deal. Biodiversity, wood mobilization, non-wood forest products, but everything focused on small-scale forest management, because difficulties for people are completely different. And remember the first photograph that I show, and think what those people can do for ecosystem restoration. You need size and you need support, and we want to focus on that. So the project of objectives, first of all, we want to provide an updated overview of the whole forest-based value chain. That's very important, and we need to think on the new business models that in agriculture have been developed. But across Europe, there are not those many businesses that are really integrated. In Finland, they have it. For instance, Metsä is a big, huge industrial group that is owned by a group of forest owners. But we need more of that, much more of that, okay? So we will describe the situation of small forest owners, their motivations and their interest, and the barriers that they have, probably lack of competences, but also lack of interest, because with the urbanization process, people who created the landscape lived in the rural areas. Probably now they live in Munich, in Helsinki, and conditions are really changing. We need to provide innovative tools to small forest owners to valorize all type of products. And specifically, since we are having more damaged wood by forest fires, by windstorms, and also infected by pests, we need to learn from the lessons learned that we can learn. For instance, in Aquitaine, 10 years ago, a wind blew through a lot of wood, and the harvest activity in Castilla y León completely stopped for 2 years, because all the harvesters, all our processors went to Aquitaine. Of course, we can understand, but we need to learn how to reduce the impact in the markets of neighbor regions. So we want also forestry in Europe needs to move, and needs to move to more multifunctional management, because that's what people is asking for. So we think that we need, and the Commission and the strategy stresses this, go for closer to nature silviculture. And we think that there is really something like between the people that say, no, clear cut is the solution, it has proved that being really effective, and then the people that says it's like something, we believe in pro silva, and we live, what in fact, what we have are different solutions. There is a continuum in silviculture that we can use, but we want to develop new models for the applicability of closer to nature silviculture in different forest types, in different regions across Europe. Finally, we need new sources of income from small forest owners. And for that, and taking the benefit of the scheme of, not the scheme, the regulation of carbon credit certification. We are going to develop a unified European system preferred by nature that have a look at a lot of experience with the Vera, with the gold standard, and they will try to prepare something new in terms of credit carbon and also in terms of carbon credits plus with biodiversity, because that's probably the next market of payment for ecosystem services that we can come with. We also want to co-create a comprehensive framework for this transition that we were saying. So we will try to develop guidelines for policymakers, for stakeholders in different regions to really, so that seed could grow in the next years, in the next decades. In agriculture, it took 50 years, 5 decades. Let's see if we can do it in 2 or 3 decades, really a change of the forestry. For that, what we think is really important is the governance of the project. And we have been really ambitious in trying to get the implication of many people. Of course, we have our General Assembly of the 10 organizations that I have already mentioned, but we also want to involve an external advisory board, getting the expertise from people from the academia, but also from stakeholders and previous policymakers who have had responsibilities in the private forestry sector. And with that, we would like to create a new hub, a new European hub focused on small forest holdings across Europe. So there is a lot of people that we want to involve with the project, and we will try to organize our work in 7 different work programs. Of course, we have the management, we have communication and dissemination, but the really distinct first work program deals with the characterization of the small forest owners and the small forest holdings. We do not have that characterization. We do not have a register. Nobody knows how many forest owners there are in Europe. In agriculture, every single farmer is identified. In forestry, we do not know if we have 16 million. That's the last report from Forest Europe, and we think that they are wrong. We believe that there are more than 20 million, and that's a problem, but that's also an opportunity, is that most of the families in Europe are forest owners. But many times they do not know, well, that was something that we inherited from the grandfather, but we need to look back and we need to establish linkages between urban people and our ancestors. Look back, look to the landscape. Then, of course, we need to look at business, because if forestry is not profitable, there won't be forestry. And the problem that we have is forest abandonment. And that can only increase because of the problems, the structural problems that we have in forestry and in agriculture. They have been solved already because there have been measures designed specifically for that, for the European farms, but not for the European forest. Situation is not the same in every country. Finland, for instance, or Germany. But if we look at Portugal, if we look at Spain, Italy, Malta, or Chipre, the situation is really, we have a lot of needs. And then we will develop these new management models on closer to nature silviculture, the system of carbon credits, and to me, the most important work program is exploitation, how to transfer the results and the ideas to the more than 250 regions in Europe with different needs. Well, those are the outcomes. This is the list of the outcomes, the milestones that we want. But first of all, I want to refer to me, the most important point of that seed that we want to sow is the hub. We want tractor enterprises in all over Europe, in Germany, in France, thinking in the small forest owners and how to really engage them and provide support to them. And we need to engage at least 60 organizations. So the first, an invitation to all of you to join the hub that we will present. For this, we will have a cascade funding call for proposals. 1 million euro of the project will be devoted to this. And we need local actors. Model Forest Network, we need you. We need people really living in the landscape that want to work with us in those challenges that we have mentioned. And you will have 18 months to work on anything that you want to work with, okay? We think that there has never been a European conference on small forest holdings, on private forest. There are assemblies of the European forest associations. We know that in Stockholm, UFRO has a working group on, but those are researchers. We need to bring researchers, forest association, small foresters, people together, and we will try to organize this for the next spring. So Samuele, you were telling about making a proposal for next spring. We have another. So let's see if we can work together. So there is not a classification of the European forest holdings. In agriculture, everything is done. But we want to prepare the first classification, because if we do not have a standard classification of forest holdings types, there is no way that we can describe millions of different forest holdings. And we will integrate all the results in the dashboard of small forest holdings, including the characterization of forest owners, the analysis of the legal framework. What are the rights and obligations of people in Malta or in Estonia? Are they the same? Can you transform a forest into agriculture? Now with the deforestation regulation, it makes no sense. But with the problem of forest fires that we're having, that's crazy. We need to take back forest area into cultivated land. And that should be normal, because for the landscape, we need that. We need to go back to recover this European landscape. Our landscape is not rewilding. That's interesting, and it's a positive and enriching idea. But what we have is a cultural landscape that has been used for millennia, and we are abandoning it, and we need to go back to it. So for that, we want to identify first and then characterize two best cases. And there are a lot. For instance, in Austria, they have ProHolz, a wonderful cluster for innovation in wood. But in the United States, they have the American Hardwood Export Council. And I don't know this wood, but probably it was imported in Castilla y León from the Export Council. And the forest owners of Virginia and Alabama, they have organized themselves, and we might learn from them. But also the history of Alliance Forêt Bois, the largest cooperative in France, is really interesting for other regions. Or we have Metza that I have already mentioned. We have Metza Keskus. La Forêt Bouche is a wonderful program. So we want to take these ideas and transfer to other regions and countries. We want to characterize the new business opportunities. There are many, with services, with products, and we want to develop the 11 new management models for closer to nature silviculture, a new carbon market platform for PES, and prepare the political guidelines to promote the forest holdings, defining roadmap to 2030 and action plans for 27. There is a lot to do, but we have 4 exciting years ahead. And in the end, what we want is people in the forest like this extracting resin. Thanks a lot. And this is our proposal and our challenge.